Who was Emma Guffey Miller? How successful was she in her political life? Follow along Cameron and I's journey at finding all this information out and more. First, we interviewed Dr. David Skeel, who is an acting and playwriting professor at SRU and has experienced some unexplained activity.
For a second, I lost my hand grip, and I felt so clearly like there was just something, like a hand there, just keeping me from falling back. And I was like, whoa, like it's somebody on this ladder with me, and I looked around, and there was nothing. So those were little things. And all of a sudden, we heard this crash in the room in the office, and the student who got so startled, they swore really loudly, and there's this kind of idea that Emma Miller didn't like swearing and the thing. And so he swore really, and as soon as he did that, the phone rang. And he looked at it, he picked it up, and it was a dial tone, and that's what was going on when I walked in. He was still holding the phone with a dial tone, going, oh God. And he was telling me the story when all of a sudden, crash out of the inside of that office, a much bigger crash, and he swore again and jumped, ring, the phone rings. And this time I go pick it up, this dial tone. And it was the weirdest thing.
After the conclusion of our interview with Dr. David Skeel, Cameron and I went over to North Hall and went into the basement to find some photos, and we decided to ask some students what they knew about Emma Guffey Miller and if they have had any experiences with her ghost. All right, today we're with
Nicholas Frizzetti.
All right, and how much do you know about Emma Guffey Miller?
A little bit. I know that she helped build North Hall and helped establish the last, construction of North Hall, which is right here in like the 20s or 30s. After the last building of North Hall got burnt down in a fire, so she was kind of the reason why this building's standing here in the first place. And yeah, it's basically she was like the main reason behind why the building got rebuilt after the fire.
All right, and final question: have you ever experienced any paranormal activity while around North Hall?
Unfortunately, no, I have not.
We are with
Trey Metzger.
All right, and have you experienced any paranormal activity inside North Hall?
Nothing that I would call downright paranormal, but definitely things that you probably couldn't explain, random noises, this and that. Gives you that eerie feeling every once in a while, especially around Halloween, I guess.
Awesome, thank you. Emma Guffey Miller was a very strong political figure. She was the chair of the National Women's Party, and while she was chair, she fought to have women treated the same as men. In Emma's political life, she was friends with Eleanor and Franklin D. Roosevelt, and also made friendships with the Kennedys. Next, we spoke with Dr. Watson, who has a lot of knowledge on Emma's political life.
Had extremely strong political ties, which created in some people's minds political entanglements. And I use that term because when you have a political relationship and you are in need of something, oftentimes the individual who assists you may be in need of something down the road that he or she would look to you to assist. And at some point in time, that begins to be an entanglement, not just a relationship. There is no doubt whatsoever that Slippery Rock State Teachers College and then Slippery Rock State College, and she passed before we became a university. But there's no doubt that we benefited from her political relationships, and we benefited greatly.
Emma was very successful in her political life and in her social life. Emma passed away in 1970, and there have been numerous sightings of Emma after her death, and I'll leave it up to you to decide if you believe that Emma Guffey is a ghost inside North Hall.